do all matters without grumblings and disputings, in order that you be blameless and faultless children of Elohim, without blemish in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world. So here you go. He's saying, look, first of all, we're already failing verse 14. I think we read it the wrong way. It says, do all matters with grumblings and disputings. That without part got kind of turned into with. I'm serious. Look at the way it is in congregations. Look at the way it is on Facebook when anybody's talking in any of these groups. They do everything with grumblings and disputings. Everything. And here's the funniest part. No, here's the saddest part. I don't want to say the funniest part. I can't tell you how many times somebody will drag me into a conversation because I get an email when, if somebody mentions you on Facebook, you get a notification that says, somebody mentioned you on Facebook, you know. So I go and check it out, and it's almost always somebody that is saying something about something I taught because somebody will post it, and just based on the title, they're grumbling and moaning, and they never even listen to it. And I have to go, and I have to first say, did you listen to the teaching? No. Fine. Then there's no point in discussing this until you have listened to the teaching. Oh, but I already know. How do you know you didn't listen? You don't know. You can't possibly know. Go listen to it. Don't tell me I'm wrong until you listen to it and then have an opinion based on what I actually said. I don't mind you telling me I'm wrong, by the way, after you've listened to it, because then we can have a discussion based on our different understanding of the verses that are being discussed. But this is the grumbling. We have this default kind of mode where we want to go right into disputing and grumbling. And usually we're doing that not knowing a thing about what we're talking about. And I had somebody saying, blah, 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 blah about this. So I said, look, just listen to the teaching first. The teaching lays out in a very meticulous way what I believe about whatever it is we're talking about. So go listen to it. And then we'll talk about it. He says, look, because if you don't mumble and don't grumble, he says, we're going to do that. Why? In order that you be blameless. So if we're mumbling and grumbling and complaining and disputing, we are not blameless. So we might want to meditate on that a little bit. Are you whining, complaining, mumbling, grumbling, and focusing on disputes all the time? Well, if you are blamed, not blameless. You are worthy of blame. He says, look, do all matters without grumbling, disputing, in order that you be blameless and faultless. So what does that mean? That means if you're going to do it with grumbling and complaining and disputing, even if you were right, you're wrong. I can't explain how many times I've had to cover that with people. If you don't do the process correctly, even if you were factually correct, you're still wrong. We may turn that, I guess, into an INFOCUS. It's going to be called, You're Still Wrong. Okay? Marty's much better at that, at picking out titles for these things. But, I mean, think about it. For example, if you're arguing about whatever doctrinal thing you want to argue about, and you've no longer been able to maintain your love, joy, peace, patience, meekness, kindness, the fruit of the Spirit, guess what? You're still wrong. Doesn't matter if you were right, technically, factually. But if you blew your cork and didn't maintain your shalom and were disputing and grumbling, etc., you're wrong. By the way, when we have our feasts gatherings, we have a little guidebook that we put out called, Guidelines for that feast. And in it, there's an encouragement that says, if there's a topic that you're unable or incapable of discussing without maintaining your fruit of the Spirit, then we ask you not to do it. Why? I really should put in there this verse because of what Philippians 2, 14 and 15 says. Because it's in order that you be blameless. So maybe I need to remember to add that to the guidelines so we can understand. He says, not only blameless and faultless, so that you would actually be, this is what the children of Elohim are supposed to act like. So if it's supposed to be what a blessing, it says, oh, what love the Father has given us as to be able to be called the children of the living Elohim, right? 1 John. Well, guess what? Children of Elohim are supposed to be without blemish in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation, among whom you're supposed to shine as a light. What kind of light are you shining if you're disputing and grumbling? I'm in, I can't even tell you how many groups people add me to all the time, but I'm in all these groups on Facebook. And all the time I hear people being thrown out of the group. Why are people being thrown out of the group? Because they are not able to treat each other like this. They're attacking, judging, accusing. I mean, you know. Oh, you can't believe the comments sometimes that people are trying to post on our YouTube videos. And sometimes they'll send me a book, 6, 8, 10 paragraphs long of telling me what a loser and idiot I am. There's no love in there. It's not just an honest, I don't agree with you, I'd like to have a discussion. Okay? It's an attack. Why are we attacking? Well, Paul tells the Philippians here, don't do that. Now notice what he says here. You're doing this in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation. Look, we need to overcome our lack of ability to distinguish, to discern when we're acting like children of Elohim and we're acting like the perverse generation. Because sometimes we want to think that acting like them is acting like him. And so we justify that we're supposed to do that. Well, it says that if I see my brother sinning, I'm supposed to go over. It doesn't say then to do that publicly on Facebook and call him all kinds of loser names. You're still supposed to do it gently, lovingly, caringly, etc., with the fruit of the Spirit. Go to your brother so that he knows that you're doing it because you love him. But you don't see that mostly. All right? And so it says in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation. So I think he's actually saying, because when you act like that, you're acting like them.